All right. All right, Pero Primos. So, we do our Hanguiando episodes where we interview extremely fascinating and honestly super talented people. Well, this is the first one we're doing on video. And so I am very, very proud today to introduce, the guy who's going to basically pop my Hanguiando video cherry. The one, Honored. The only Cuban Cowboy, Orlando Mendez. Thank you so much for joining us, man.
What's up, Ish? No, this is amazing. I'm glad to be on this new and beautiful set.
It's really nice, right?
It's super nice.
Like, look at this. We got a couch, a chair.
We got artwork.
I mean, like, honestly, the fact that I'm amazed by a couch and a chair, it shows that I'm the child of Cuban immigrants.
Right.
Right. Yeah, it's like, mira que lindo, cuídalo.
Mira esto. Now you got to enjoy the little things, That's
Absolutely.
what we've learned.
Absolutely, man. So, again, thank you for joining us. So, for those who don't know, and shame on you for not knowing, Orlando is the Cuban Cowboy, and that's because he is, I would say, an anomaly, okay? A Miami-born Cuban country singer. I would say you're an anomaly, but we've had another Cuban country singer on the show, so at this point, 2 is a pattern.
Right.
But yeah, so you've been singing country for a couple of years now, right?
Yeah. I started like during the pandemic is when I really started.
Okay.
I learned how to play guitar, picked up the guitar, started songwriting, started a band, and then when things opened up a little bit, we played out, and that's I think when everything kicked off for me.
So wait a minute, you learned how to play the guitar during the pandemic. You had no idea before?
No,
just
not a clue.
Like a chord, nothing?
Nothing. I had tried 2 other times in my life when I was a kid and given up both times. I wish I would have stuck with it because I would be much better right now.
Further along.
Way further along. But yeah, maybe one chord. Maybe I knew how to play a G chord.
So while everybody was making bread,
right,
in the pandemic, you were learning how to play guitar.
I was picking a guitar. Yeah.
Okay. There are worse things to pick.
For sure.
You could pick a scab instead, and that's not.
Or your
that's
nose.
Not, or your nose, and that's not good. Yeah, exactly. So you're picking a guitar. Good. So, okay. So, but then why country, right? Why country music? Again, I've heard your music. It's really good.
Thank you.
I also don't know where the hell you picked up that twang because you're from Huechete. And I've heard accents in Huechete, but none of them are, I mean, even though we're south of the Mason-Dixon, it's not that accent.
Not that.
Yeah.
No, this is a whole different area of the country, as we know.
Yeah.
This is not the South. This is just Miami.
Oh, no. Well, the saying, what is it? Florida, the further north, the more south it gets.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So, no, I've always had a fascination with country music. I found it when I was young. I think I was 12 or 13. And man, I fell in love with, it was an instant connection with the lyrics and the storytelling and the melodies and the delivery, It was something that just kind of touched me.
Yeah. It's interesting you say storytelling because I do find that with country music, full disclosure, I'm not a huge fan of country music.
Yeah.
But I appreciate it. And again, my appreciation of country really comes from like the older guard, specifically the one who transcends everything, Earthbound Angel, Dolly Parton. But you mentioned storytelling, and I think that's something very key because country music doesn't just follow, generally speaking, the verse, chorus, verse, bridge, chorus, right? Like there really is a story in there. And I think that's very interesting, especially in lieu of listening to your song Motherland, which is your ode to, your roots, right? To Cuba. It really does paint a story. Aside from the fact that it's the first time I've ever heard a country song mention Fidel and Castro in it. So tell me a little bit about that. How did that come about? Because that's obviously, it's a story, but through your eyes.
Of course.
And again, I've heard that story told many times, never in country music.
Yeah. I heard a songwriter put it really well the other day on a podcast, a country songwriter. He said, I have one character that I see, that is my lens that I see life through, and that's me. And what I can do in 3 minutes is describe things I've been through or put myself in different scenarios. And that's really what is fascinating and amazing about country music, is just all about putting that same character through the same lens in different ways. And so I wanted to tell my story. I wanted to tell my family's story. I wanted to pay tribute to my grandparents. Yeah. My abuelos, who made an incredible sacrifice so that my parents could be here so that I can be here.
Yeah.
And
is that them in the picture?
That's them.
In the cover
in La
of
Finca, yeah. That's them. It's back in Cuba. Yeah, it's
really nice picture.
Amazing. Yeah, and I wish my abuela was here to hear the song. My abuela heard it. She, she got emotional about it. She loves it. But I just wanted to describe my story, and bigger than that, the Cuban American story and the immigrant story. And that song just flowed out of me. It was one of the first songs I wrote when I learned how to play guitar. It was literally quite later. I think it was the first.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And a lot of the first songs I wrote were garbage, were hot trash. Like, they were bad. They were bad. But
that probably one, better than you think they were.
I don't know. But that one, for some reason, was just a moment of clarity.
Yeah, te nació.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And it flowed out. And I love that. I'm very proud of that one.
Well, I mean, you should be. Again, it takes a hell of an artist to rhyme Fidel and Castro in a country song.
Yeah.
Again, sir, you're probably the first and you're probably the last to do that. So, Guinness, can we get on this world record?
My plaque.
I mean, come on. Yeah, where's the plaque?
Come on.
Seriously, give this guy. We like shiny things. We're Cuban, okay? Like, he's got a nice chain on. Shiny works for us.
We like shiny. But what's crazy about that song, though, is that it connects beyond the Cuban American population. It connects to other Latin Americans. It connects to, I've heard people at shows come up that are Korean American.
Really?
That are, different Asian American, African American. People come up because we all come from somewhere. We've all at some point have had someone make a very courageous decision that benefited our existence.
Right.
And so I played it, at the Nashville Predators hockey game. And I was having random people coming up to me who, and anybody would just say that's an American, they're not Cuban American or Latin American.
Son americano.
Son gringo. Yeah. And they would come up to me and like, that song is powerful. That song touched me because I think it transcended even what I thought would be the target audience.
I think what you tapped into with that song is something that we've actually said many times on this show is in the specificity lies the broadness. Right? Dang. If you try to and we talked about this with Jenny Lorenzo, who has the abuela character. Her character is very specifically Cuban, right? Like they're Cuban because that's what she knows and whatever. But she's like, same as you. I would get all these people from all these different backgrounds saying, that's my grandmother.
Yep.
That's my grandmother. The minute that you try to create like this generic experience, I can't relate to it because I have no idea what you're talking about. So the fact that you drilled it down to the specificity of the Cuban American experience, that's what allows it to resonate across the board. Because like to your point, you can kind of swap out certain things, right? Yeah. So, I think I've mentioned Castro more in this interview than I have in my life. But, you swap out Castro for some other dictator, some other, catalyst for people leaving their country, and it still resonates.
Of course. I love that in the specificity there is the broadness. There is the broadness. That's beautiful. That is literally the magic of songwriting too, is the more specific you get, the more genuine and authentic it is, the more it connects with people. Yeah. I've written songs before that's just very generic and broad, and I just want everybody to be able to jam to this. But no. The more nitty gritty you get into whatever situation you went through, and especially if it's actually inspired and life lived, the more it connects.
I wanted to ask you about that specifically. You have a song called Just a Bottle.
Mm-hmm.
That song is fantastic.
Thank you.
And I mean, we're drinking beer, so clearly my first question is like, is that about your struggles with alcohol is not valid? Because clearly we don't have a struggle here.
Yeah.
But where did that song come from? Because it just seemed like it came from an experience.
Yeah. So I cannot take credit for that song. I cannot take credit for writing that song. I was pitched that song.
Okay.
And so what happens a lot of times in Nashville is there's people who are incredible songwriters that's their whole profession, and they just write awesome songs, and then they pitch their songs to artists, or publishers pitch their songs to artists. Okay. And once I heard that song, I was like, this is incredible. Like the story captivated me, the message, how deep the storytelling was, I was like, I need to tell this story. If I'm the one who gets the chance to put this out into the world, I would be honored. Yeah. And sure enough, so that was Matt Roy, Claire Douglas, and Driver Williams, who are 3 of Nashville's like best songwriters.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up an interesting point, which I think some people don't know is, and you live in Nashville now. Mm-hmm. Your primary residence is in Nashville. All of the songwriting in Nashville, maybe not all of it, or 95%, mm-hmm. is kind of by, for lack of a better way of putting it, by committee, right? Yep. Like it is not like most people, at least when you're talking to your bigger pop stars, right? It's like, oh, I wrote it, or I have my songwriting partner and things like that. The vibe I get is Nashville is, unless again you're one of like the big people who can pick and choose how they want to do it. Right. It is by committee, right? It's very much collaborative.
Yes. So, and that's something I've had to learn, because when I was here, I was writing solo, Motherland solo, all my first few singles, and still some of the songs I release are solo mm-hmm. written. But in Nashville, there's a community of writers, and the norm is co-writing, right. Getting into a room like we would be doing right here, me, you, Junior, and putting our heads together, coming up with an idea, and just trying to create the best song possible.
Right. I mean, it would be 90% Junior though.
It probably would be. I would not doubt it.
It would be. He's sitting over there, very, very quiet with his Fresh Prince shirt.
Not about me. Junior, you got some ideas on you?
Not about me. Not right
now. see, not right now. That implies later. That implies later. Yeah. But yeah, and you were writing by yourself, so that had to be a period of adjustment too. Like,
for sure, and it's a whole different world. When just like collaborating in anything, you have to figure out what works, how you give and take. Mm-hmm. How you how you don't get trampled in the room, because you can do that too. I've had rights I've walked into, especially early on, especially with people who I admired. I've been able to write with some of my favorite writers. Get in the room and I'm like. You do your thing,
Yeah, you're the new guy, too.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't want to throw out something stupid, but you have to learn how to navigate that, and how truly nothing is stupid. Anything could contribute to the song. It's 3 or 4 or 2 or 5. There's songs with 5, 6 writers, people trying to create the best song possible.
It's funny because country music, like we were just talking, tends to have, a community. I like that mm-hmm. word. I was saying committee. A community of writers, for the most part on songs as a whole, right? Yes. As a general mm-hmm. understanding. But it's funny that when I think of, like, again, I'm comparing it to the pop world. Whenever I tend to hear a song that it's like, this song is the most generic thing I can hear, it's got like 42 people who wrote it. But it's funny because I don't get that vibe from country music, right? Like, again, it's a lot less people, but there are literally some pop songs where I look at the writing credits.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, okay, there's maybe 100 words in this song, and there's 72 people who wrote this song. Yeah. Did everybody contribute a word?
Right.
Because I don't get it.
I'm always blown away by that too. I think the pop world has way more writers than country per song, per capita. Per song.
It just seems like a cash grab. Yeah. Like, everybody's just like, I was in the room and I sneezed once, and I think it might be in the background. So.
Well, you get credit for that. If you were in the room, you get songwriting credit.
Just by being in the room.
Just by sitting there, yeah.
Okay, I found my new career.
Yeah.
I'm just going to sit in rooms where people are writing songs.
Right.
Yeah. Or I'll rent the rooms.
There you go.
And then
just
sit
be in the corner.
And then make twice the money. See?
Now you're thinking.
That's that Miami hustle, bro.
Now you're thinking ish. This is why they can't get ahead of us, bro.
That's why. Olvídate tú in Nashville. Tú le das tres vueltas.
I'm trying.
What's that been like? Moving from Miami, because you went from Miami, then you studied in UF.
Yeah.
I think you came back to Miami after that, right?
Yep.
And then you went to Nashville. I'm assuming after the pandemic, so it's still recent.
Yeah, I've only been in Nashville for 2 years.
Oh wow.
So
Excuse me.
Good. I've been in. It's been an adjustment. I still call Miami my home. It'll probably always be my home. This is where my heart is. But it's been fantastic professionally, networking wise, songwriting wise, production wise. So I really enjoy it for that reason.
Right.
But any moment I can be back here in the 305. I will be back here in the 305.
That's true. You just need to find a good Cuban restaurant in Nashville.
That's it.
And I'm sure there's got to be one. Look, we're everywhere.
There's one that is decent.
Okay.
Yeah, resuelve. The guy's from Kendall, so
Okay, that's authentic.
yeah,
then.
it's pretty
Okay,
authentic.
okay.
There was another place where I guess it wasn't super authentic, but this guy, he's from Kendall. I've met him. Like I think he went to Killian, so it's pretty legit.
You probably dated his sister. It's
At some point, possibly, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's called Soy Cubano, and it's good.
I've heard of it.
Yeah,
I've heard of it because I go up to North Carolina a lot, and sometimes we pop over to Tennessee. And every time we're like, if we go to Nashville, these are the places I want to go to. And I'm kind of that guy who's like, I want to go to Cuban restaurants because I want to taste it.
Compare, yeah.
I want to compare, right?
Yeah.
I want to be like, all right, show me what you got.
right.
But inevitably, it's always somebody from Miami, so it's like, all right, we're fine, we're
Yeah,
good.
this is legit. Yeah, you want to go critique it and shame it, but no, it's
no, you
it's
can't.
really legit.
You can't. And again, you know what? It's what they have, right? And, and they're doing the Lord's work, as they say. So you just recently released. I've got notes here, guys. I'm not ignoring him. I'm not looking at texts, or anything like that. You recently released your debut EP, Slow Season, right? My favorite song on it is Love Dry Land.
Thank you. Yeah.
Mostly because it has this fun ass rockabilly sound to it that I just instantly, like, I heard it and I was like, okay, I don't smoke, but I want to smoke them if I got them. Like, I'm in. You pulled me in, and that's something I found again also interesting with your music is, I don't remember the name of the other one, but there's a slower one. I think Bury Me Inside the Ocean.
Yeah.
It sounds country, but it has like a Caribbean undercurrent, right? It's almost, I don't want to say it sounds calypso because I don't think there's a steel drum in there, but it's got that like cruise vibe.
Yeah,
to
there's
it.
a steel drum in one. In Sorrow Saloon, there's a steel.
Sorrow Saloon, that's the one.
There's a steel drum in it. That's good. You picked it up. There's a steel drum.
Damn, look at me knowing how to determine random ass obscure instruments. Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Okay. Yeah, like that was, again, it hit me that, oh, this is country, but it's like new country.
Right.
If that's even a term, right?
Yeah. It's just a little different than straight up mainstream country, I guess you would say. I just wanted to be pretty genuine about, growing up by the water.
Yeah.
And have that influence the music. I didn't grow up on red dirt. I didn't grow up in the South in Georgia or any of these places on a farm. What I grew up is, by the water on a beach, right, on a boat. That's kind of how we grew up down here. And I just wanted in this project to highlight that and really have that inspire and paint a lot of the backdrop for these songs.
Well, it definitely did. Also, I love the fact that the more we talk, you go in and out of Miami twang. There's a little bit of like, because at some point,
it's my life now.
It's like you've been there for 2 years, but all that, he's just like, I'm having platanitos, and then I'm gonna be hearing like, and it's like it's this like swirling in my head of all these, it's like a UN type of thing, right, just going round and around. Yeah.
No, it's just it's like
but
my
I
life.
Love it. Keep going.
Yeah, it's fascinated. No, it's my life now because I'm just surrounded. It's the two different worlds that I navigate all the time. I go from here in Miami, I go and then when I say that, out here, and then I go to Nashville, and it's it's the country crowd. We're hanging out.
Do you ever bust out with the Spanglish in Nashville just by habit, like apero, right?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, it happens to me, especially. So I don't know who you had on the show. I don't know if it was my friend Sammy.
Yes, it was.
Okay, Sammy Arriaga. Yeah. Amazing singer, awesome country artist. We're good friends now, and so we see each other in Nashville all the time. And when we get together, that's when the Miami comes out.
Okay. So then it is true. All Miami people outside of here know each other.
Yes.
Okay. Got it. Right.
Yeah. Just automatically we trigger each other's Miami accent to come out, and
the bros,
all the slang. The bros start flying. The dales go crazy. It's we have a good time.
I love it. See, now that's a doubleheader I would like to see, is you and Sammy on the same stage, just broing out and then doing your music.
Yeah.
But barring that, we do get to see you in the next couple of days on October 23rd at the Miami Improv, where you're going to be doing your one-man show, right? It's called Cuban Cowboy is the name of the show, right?
An origin story.
Yes. He's actually going to be the new MCU. Origin story. How did that come about? Because I know, you went to UF. I think you kind of pursued acting for a minute there, right? I mean, I say a minute because that's as far as it got on your bio.
Yeah.
So that's where my research came from. And now, you went the music route, and I feel like now you're combining the two, right? 'Cause
Absolutely.
there's that saying that it's like once an actor, always an actor.
Yeah, it never goes away.
Yeah.
And anytime I can get back to the stage, or acting or camera or theater, I always try to. It's kind of in my bones at this point. Been acting since I was little, and studied theater in college. Yeah, at UF I studied theater, and then spent a few years after, bouncing back and forth from New York to Miami, acting. Shows, little commercials and things, and really the show that connected me with the whole Cultura crowd, Robbie and all these people is Amparo. So I was in Amparo.
All roads lead to Amparo.
All roads lead to
All
Amparo.
roads lead to Amparo here.
Yeah, it's incredible. And so this show's gonna be special because this show on the 23rd is the way that I can morph my two worlds. Finally, I've been looking for a reason to do it, and I feel like every time I have a concert, I always use some of that acting, of course, between songs, telling little stories and things and quick lines. But this is going to be actually whipping out the acting chops again and putting on a show here.
So it's the narrative is going to take us through, little Orlando all the way through Nashville.
Right. Yeah, well, you're going to get a whole lot of it. My whole life story. You're going to get the great moments. And then I'm going to go real deep into the valleys, man, and try to take people through my psyche and how this morphed and evolved into what it is now, which is just cool and weird, a Cuban American country singer.
I mean, any singer-songwriter worth their salt has to have some dark patches.
For sure, yeah.
Right? Nobody wants to hear a sunny... Look, nobody wants to hear JoJo Siwa. I mean, for many reasons. But, you want to get somebody who has that depth and who has that, my life hasn't been all sunshine and roses, because, again, it's about being able to connect.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. I think we're going to do that on the 23rd. It's going to be, intimate, in depth. It's going to be just a piece of me put out there,
Yeah. Is there plans to take it? I know it's like it hasn't even happened yet, and already I'm like, so when are you touring with this?
Right. What are we doing with it?
Because that's the world we live in, right? It's
of
like,
course.
oh, you haven't finished on anything, but what's the next project?
What's next? Yeah. For sure. Even with the EP, it was like the question was, what's next?
Yeah.
And so I really hope this show does incredibly well. I hope it resonates with people. I hope they laugh and cry and feel all the emotions, because that's my favorite part about doing this, is just to share that moment of catharsis. Yeah. And so I hope this show hits it like crazy, and I hope that we can then do this show in other places. I think it would do great in Tampa. I think it would do great in other parts of Florida, New Jersey, places where we have great,
little community pockets.
Pockets and communities of Cubans and different people who would enjoy this.
But, again, to what you were saying about everybody relating to it, I think even outside of those pockets, right?
Yeah.
Like, yes, target those pockets first, right? Like,
yeah,
because there's that built-in audience. But I could see it taking root just in general.
Of course.
Just being something that, again, a good storyteller is a good storyteller.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where you're from. If you're engaging the audience, that's all they care about.
For sure. And I want this story is just a story of a dream. And like we all have dreams and inspiration and twists and turns and mountains and valleys.
Yeah. It's like the 826.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Gridlocked as hell.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No matter what time. Doesn't matter what time. Just like life.
Right.
And for those of you who can't make it to the show on the 23rd, because it's only one show, right?
It's one show, one night only.
One night only. So, but you're coming back in November.
Yep.
To do the Country Bay Music Festival.
Nailed it.
I know it's at the Miami. I know it's at the Miami Marine Stadium.
Yep.
See, I remember that part. So again, guys, you can catch him in October. You can catch him in November. You can catch him any damn time you want, because you know what? You'll have Spotify. You'll have Apple, iTunes, podcast thing, Pandora, whatever. Like, he's on all the platforms.
Yep.
Okay. So no tienen excusa to not Just a Bottle, Homeland, oh my God, which is Dry Land. They're all good. All right. Trust me, you'll like them all. All right. But before I let you go, I got to ask about your experience on The Voice.
Yeah.
All right. So you were on The Voice. I have to admit, I don't really watch The Voice because, and it's gonna sound a little catty, but go with me. I always feel like the best part about being on The Voice is not winning The Voice,
Yeah, that's true.
because I can't name one winner who was on The Voice, but a lot of people who were like first round eliminated. You know, you find out you find their music, right? So you had the distinction of all 4 chairs turning around in your audition, right? And this was in 22?
22. Yeah.
22. And so who were the judges? Walk me through this star-studded chair-a-thon.
I got you. It was Blake Shelton.
All right.
It was Camila Cabello.
Okay.
It was Gwen Stefani and John Legend.
I mean, that's a who's who of people like industry icons, right?
For sure.
That term gets thrown around a lot, icon, but no, in this case, yes, they all turned around. What the hell was going through your head when they all 4 turned around?
Oh, it was insane. I mean, I was blacked out at that moment. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, just the pure energy and adrenaline of the whole moment. But once I really took it in,
Right.
there was at some point after the singing was done and I was standing there looking at these 4 icons, like you said, these 4 stars staring back at me, who had all turned around, and I never expected that. When I tell you I never expected that, I had envisioned all these different scenarios, and that was never one of them. And so to see them all, there was a moment where I just took it in and was like, this is the most surreal moment of my life.
Yeah.
This is insane.
And who'd you pick?
Camila,
You okay? You know, it makes sense.
hometown girl.
Hometown girl. She's not gonna steer you wrong.
Right. No, I mean, the second she started her pitch with "Que vola Acere," I
no,
was
I'll be
like,
out
I'll be there.
Yeah.
We gotta go with
Gwen,
Camila.
you can't match that. Sorry. Like,
They couldn't.
she's got the Harajuku girls, but that's not the same as a Chonga girl.
Right.
Yeah. It's very different. Very, very different. But Orlando, thank you so much for swinging by, man.
Of course.
Again,
Thank you.
Miami Improv, October 23rd. And if you can't make it, he's back in November. And if you can't make that, he's in your ear.
Yeah, and we'll have plenty more. I'm always.
I know, but I'm trying to drive up your streams, man. I'm trying to help you out here.
Please
Like,
do.
Yeah.
Please do. We can use it.
Yeah. Listen, no, he's never coming back. That's it. October, November.
Sacao.
Sacabo. You're gonna have to go to Nashville or wherever he's touring with the show, because see, I'm also putting that into the universe now.
That's great.
The show is touring.
I would love that.
Yeah, you just haven't locked down the dates or the venues or the cities or anything yet, but it's gonna happen.
It's coming.
It's coming. Yeah, for sure. But oh yeah, man, seriously, thank you so much for stopping by. It
Thank
has been
you.
an absolute pleasure, and I just can't wait to have you back on the show. But by then, you'll have won a CMA. You'll have probably been nominated for at least 2 Grammys.
Oh wow.
An American Music Award for sure, and we'll figure out how to finagle you into the Latin Grammys.
I love that. Please put that.
We'll
out
figure
there.
it out.
Please
We'll
put
figure it
all
out.
that out there from your mouth to God's ears.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to speak it into existence.
That's right.
Yeah. Thanks,
Thank you,
man.
Rich. I appreciate you.
Likewise.